Panic Among the Kauravas, Part 3. Dhritarashtra then asked Sanjaya to repeat to him what Krishna had said. Sanjaya related Krishna's words. After this, Sanjaya described another meeting he had with both Krishna and Arjuna. I was invited to see them in Arjuna's quarters. With my mind fixed on sacred things, I entered the innermost apartment in the palace, my head lowered and my hands clasped in prayer. Those two great souls, however, put me at ease. They were seated together on a golden bed bedecked with precious stones. Krishna's feet rested on Arjuna's lap, and Arjuna's were on Krishna's lap. Draupadi and Satyabhama sat nearby like two shining moons. Arjuna pointed to a seat. I touched it with my head and sat next to it on the floor. Krishna and Arjuna rose from their place like a couple of shal trees. Seeing the two black-complexioned heroes towering above me, I was seized with fear. They were like Indra and Vishnu together. I realized that whoever has them on his side cannot possibly meet with defeat. Sanjaya then closed his eyes as he recalled the sight. For some time he was silent. Then he continued in a subdued voice. After they had reassured me and offered me foods and drink, I placed my clasped hands on my head and told them of your desire for peace. O King, Arjuna then asked Krishna to make a suitable reply, whereupon that Yadava leader spoke. His words were charming and mild, but their import was terrible. They were calculated to inspire fear in the hearts of your sons. Krishna said, O Sanjaya, say these words before Dhritarashtra and all the Kuru elders after offering them our respects and inquiring about their welfare. Tell them that they should now perform auspicious sacrifices and they should make numerous gifts to the Brahmanas. Then they should make merry with their wives and sons, for soon they will face a calamity. I am thinking of my debt to Draupadi, which is still not paid. That chaste lady purchased me for all time when she cried out, "Oh, Govinda!" amid the Kurus who were inflicting her with too much pain. Tears streamed down Sanjaya's face as he thought of how Krishna gave himself completely to whoever sought his shelter. Then Krishna spoke the following words. The Kurus have made me and the wielder of the Gandiva bow their enemy. Who would dare challenge us in battle, even if they were assisted by the gods, unless their time had come? He who defeats Arjuna could hold up the earth in his two arms. He could burn up all creatures and destroy the heavens. Among all the beings within the three worlds, I do not see any equal to Arjuna in battle. Surely the fight at the Matsya kingdom was sufficient evidence of that. What to speak of his encounter with the Danavas in the netherworld? Strength, agility, prowess, lightness of hand, untiring energy, and patience reside always in Arjuna and in no one else. Consider all this carefully before beginning any hostilities, O Kurus. Sanjaya then told the Kurus that Krishna planned to come to Hastinapur himself to encourage peace. Dhritarashtra sat with his head bowed. He had spent many a long night pondering Arjuna's power, trying to weigh whether it could be countered by any of the Kuru warriors. Indeed, it was hard to decide. Now that Arjuna was united in battle with Krishna, the odds shifted dramatically. Krishna's power was impossible to estimate. Indeed, it was said by the rishis that Krishna was the Lord of all divinities. So opposing him would surely mean opposing the gods themselves. The blind king then spoke with apprehension. All these descriptions of Arjuna and Krishna only convince me all the more of the folly of this war. O Duryodhana, think again. Think with whom you will be fighting. Great men always repay their debts. Agnidev is indebted to Arjuna for his assistance at Kandava forest. Surely he will help Arjuna in this war. And so will the god Dharma align himself with his son Yudhisthira. Bhimasena is the son of Vayu, and the twins are born of the two Ashwini Kumaras. It thus appears we will be facing a force both human and divine. I cannot see how we can win. Oh, my dear son, make peace with the Pandavas. For if you do not, then the end of the Kurus has come. By now, Duryodhana was losing his patience. All of this useless agonizing was too much. The prince jumped up in a rage. Oh, best of kings, why do you keep praising the Pandavas? They are mortals just like the rest of us. How will the gods come to their assistance? After all, the gods are never impelled by base emotions, and it is only by indifference to worldly desires and the absence of avarice, anger, and hatred that the demigods have attained their heavenly positions in the first place. They do not get involved in petty human struggles based on emotional attachments. And were this not the case, then how could the Pandavas have undergone so much suffering? And let's say even if the gods do take their side, so what? I am the equal to any of those gods. By my own mystic power, I can stop fire from burning, even if it wishes to consume all the three worlds. With incantations, I can solidify water, enabling chariots and infantry to march over it. I can break apart mountains, and I can send down showers of rocks accompanied by a gale force like that which blows at the time of universal destruction. As he praised himself, Duryodhana became increasingly enlivened. He flailed his arms and glared at all the kings in the assembly. All of you know very well that in my kingdom there are no natural calamities caused by the gods. Due to my protection, there are not even frightful beasts or snakes to assail my subjects. All the citizens practice virtue and live peacefully under my rule. Neither the gods nor the asuras would dare protect anyone hated by me. Why did the gods not prevent me from exiling the Pandavas or from taking their wealth? Whomever I desire to be happy or miserable meets with that end without fail. I am never thwarted in my aims. O monarch, my words will not prove false, For I am known in this world as one who speaks the truth. The world witnesses my fame and glory. I say this only to console you, my dear father, and not out of self-praise. Soon you will hear of the defeat of the Pandavas, rest assured. I am superior to them in intelligence, might, prowess, knowledge, and ability. I shall destroy all of the Pandavas. Duryodhana, who was now in the center of the hall, strode back to his seat. Karna applauded him and stood to speak, disregarding Dhritarashtra, who had raised his hand in order to reply. Karna's voice rang around the assembly. I will take it upon myself to kill the Pandavas. I have received the Brahma Astra from Parashuram and the Shakti from Indra. With these two weapons, I will destroy Pandu's sons. All of the other Kurus may stay with Duryodhana to protect him. Leave the Pandavas to me. Bhishma laughed loud and long. Oh, Karna, what are you saying? Your intelligence has obviously been dulled by death now that it approaches you. Remembering the incident of the burning of the Kandava forest, you should now restrain yourself, O foolish one. Your Shakti weapon, of which you are so proud, will be burned to ashes when Krishna's Sudarshana Chakra hits it. That Supreme Person has already destroyed enemies far greater than you, Karna. Meeting with Krishna and Arjuna, you and all of your weapons will be ruined. Bhishma then reminded Karna how he had been cursed by Parashuram, that when he needed it the most, he would not be able to remember the incantations to invoke the Brahma Astra. Karna had deceived the sage into thinking he was a Brahmana in order to receive his teachings. So when Parashuram discovered the lie, he uttered this curse: "You will not be able to use the Brahma Astra when you are faced with imminent danger. And Arjuna will certainly not have the same difficulty as you." Ha! Oh, grandfather, your praise of Krishna is proper. I know him to be great, greater even than you say. But I can no longer tolerate your cruel words towards me. So hear now the result of your harshness. I will not engage in battle as long as you are present. Rather, I will lay down my weapons until you are laid low. Then the world will see my prowess. Karna then stormed out of the hall. Bhishma laughed again and turned towards Duryodhana. The Suta's son is a man who keeps his word. So, how will he now fulfill his promise to wipe out the enemy troops? In this very assembly, I did hear him say, "All of you here shall be the witness. I will again and again kill thousands and tens of thousands of enemy soldiers." So how will he act upon it now? Karna is passionate and arrogant. At the very moment he cheated the holy rishi, Parashuram, he lost all virtue and ascetic merits. Duryodhana was now perplexed by Karna's sudden departure. But maintaining a straight face, Duryodhana again asserted that he depended on no one. Whether or not Karna aided him, still he would face the Pandavas and win. And when the prince finally stopped boasting, Vidura rose from his seat and began to tell a story. There was once a hunter who set a net in the forest to capture birds. 2 large birds were entrapped in the net, but they rose up to the sky, carrying the net with them. The hunter saw this and ran after them. As he ran, an ascetic saw him and said, "Oh, how strange! One who moves by his feet on the earth should run after those who wander in the sky. Those birds united have been able to take my net, but they will fall down when they quarrel." And sure enough, before long, the 2 birds began fighting, and they dropped to earth, where the hunter caught and killed them. O Duryodhana, in the same way, brothers who fight one another are soon overpowered by death. Cousin brothers should enjoy life together, eating and sporting, but they should never quarrel. Vidura confirmed what had already been said of the Pandavas' power, trying to dissuade Duryodhana from war. But the prince said nothing. He already knew Vidura's opinion, and Vidura obviously favored the Pandavas. Now it was clear. The assembly had nothing more to say. Sanjaya had delivered the Pandavas' messages, and the Kurus replied. Dhritarashtra's pathetic calls for peace were useless if he did not return even a portion of Yudhishthir's kingdom to him. Never once had he indicated that he was willing to do this. Therefore, unless Krishna was able to change his mind, there would be war. One by one, the kings and ministers left the hall. Now, at last, Dhritarashtra sat alone with Sanjaya. Having heard everyone's opinions publicly expressed, the king now wanted to hear his secretary's opinion. Did he think there was any chance of the Kurus winning the war? Sanjaya had seen both sides and was able to assess their respective strengths. Although Sanjaya had already stated that he saw little hope for the Kurus, still the king hoped that in private he would give him a clue as to how they might win. Sanjaya was worried that if he spoke alone to the king, his opinion might not be taken seriously. He knew that Dhritarashtra felt that Sanjaya was inclined toward the sons of Pandu. Therefore, Sanjaya asked if he could call for Vyasadeva, who was present at that time in the palace. If Dhritarashtra could see that the wise Rishi agreed with Sanjaya's opinion, perhaps Dhritarashtra would take it more seriously. The king agreed and also invited his wife Gandhari to be present. When both Vyasadeva and Gandhari had taken their seats near the king, Sanjaya turned to address his spiritual master. "O my lord, please grant me permission to speak to the king in your presence. He has asked about the Pandavas' strength." Vyasadeva lifted his right hand in blessing. "O Sanjaya, you should tell him everything about Krishna, for he is the real power of the Pandavas." And so, with his hands folded, Sanjaya spoke. "O king, again and again you have asked about the strengths and weaknesses of the Pandavas. Their strength can be measured simply by measuring that of Govinda, for his strength is ananta, without any limit. If the entire world were placed on one side and Janardhan on the other, then he would surpass the world on the point of strength. Krishna can reduce the very earth, along with all of its creatures, to ashes within a moment. Where there is truth, where there is righteousness and virtue, where there is modesty, and where there is humanity, there you will find Vasudeva. And where there is Krishna, there will also be victory. Krishna is the soul of all beings. He has come to this world as if in play. The Pandavas are merely instruments of his desire. That all-powerful being desires to annihilate all the miscreant and irreligious elements in the world. O king, your sons are such an element. Dhritarashtra reached out for his wife's hand, holding it tightly. Sanjay went on speaking. Keshava is the Lord of time, the Lord of death, the Lord of both moving and non-moving living entities. Appearing as an ordinary man by his own illusion, he comes to this world, and those who know him are not deceived. The old monarch was now curious to hear more about Krishna. He had always known that Sanjaya accepted Krishna as the supreme deity. Sanjay was Vyasadev's disciple, who himself also worshipped Krishna. But the king himself was not sure. Certainly Krishna was extraordinary. Why, it was astonishing how Krishna had killed so many powerful demons, and all the rishis extolled Krishna as the original divinity. But yet, Krishna appeared so human. Dhritarashtra asked, "How is it that you accept Krishna as the supreme God? Why do you know him as such, whereas I do not? Oh, please explain this to me, if you feel it is appropriate, Sanjaya." Those who are too attached to this material world cannot know that great personality. To them, he remains a mystery, or they simply do not accept Krishna's existence as God. I am not enamored of material things, and I have kept my desires in check. At the same time, I carefully study the Vedas and faithfully hear from holy men, such as my spiritual master, Vyasadeva. Thus, I have been able to know Keshava in some degree. You too may acquire this knowledge, O king. Now, take shelter of Krishna, for he is your best well-wishing friend. Do not despise Krishna or his advice. Your foolish son has no faith in Krishna, and will thus lead you and the Kurus to utter destruction. Gandhari nodded in agreement and said, "Our wicked-minded son will certainly bring destruction upon us all. He is envious and vain, and never listens to his elders' advice. After enhancing the joy of evil men as well as my grief, he will die at the hands of Bhimasena, and only then will he remember the words of his father." Vyasadeva, seated on an elevated seat spread with silk cushions, spoke. "O king, you are dear to Krishna. Now, listen to my advice. Hear carefully from Sanjaya. He can tell you the path by which Krishna can be known and accepted as one's shelter. Only due to excessive desire and hatred are men denied knowledge of God. Coveting wealth and fame in this world, almost all men are fully absorbed in illusion. Thus, they come under the control of death again and again. The wise man, therefore, gives up all attachments and takes to the path of liberation, Apavarga Vartmani, which leads ultimately to Krishna. Dhritarashtra then asks Sanjaya to describe the path. After bowing before Vyasadeva, Sanjaya replied, "The beginning of this path is sense control. Performance of sacrifice without sense control will not allow you to know God. Renunciation of sensual desires arise from the awakening of true knowledge, which is born out of wisdom. Wisdom is gained by experience and by hearing from those who are wise. True wisdom means controlling the senses. One with controlled senses will experience pleasure within as one proceeds on the path of self-realization. By this path, one can attain Keshava, O king. Follow that path with a genuine desire to know and please that most ancient of deities, and success will be assured." Dhritarashtra asked his secretary to tell him more about Krishna's attributes and qualities. Sanjaya told him of Krishna's various names and their different meanings. Sanjaya described Krishna as the creator, the sustainer, and ultimately the destroyer. Krishna was indeed the origin of everything, both material and spiritual. After hearing all of these descriptions, Dhritarashtra became thoughtful. He then dismissed Sanjaya. Later, Vyasadeva also left. Then, Dhritarashtra sat alone with his wife. The old king was perplexed. He could not deny Krishna's supremacy. Sanjaya's descriptions, supported by Vyasadeva, were lucid and thorough. It was obvious that opposing Krishna and those backed by Krishna was sure to end in defeat. But if it was Krishna's desire that the Kurus be destroyed, then what could Dhritarashtra do? It seemed that his actions were all useless in the face of the Lord's divine plan. Dhritarashtra sat sighing and holding his head. Did Krishna really desire that his sons, relatives, and friends all be annihilated? Why then was he coming to Hastinapur to establish peace? Oh, it was a mystery the blind monarch could not unravel. Namaste Narasimhaya Prahlad Ahlad Dayane Hiranya Kashipo Vaksha Shilatankana Kalai Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimho Yato Yami Tato Nrsimha Bahi Nrsimho Hridayi Nrsimho Nrsimham Ading Sharanang Prapadyi Tabakara Kamala Barei Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Keshavadrita Narsingha Rupa, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare.